These 10 fragrances just might be the last ones that you would ever need to buy, at least theoretically. Let's say you were deciding that enough is enough. It has gotten way out of control and it's time to stop. Now, I think I'm pretty confident in saying that probably none of you watching this are actually going to follow through with that. If you are, hats off to you and good for you, because realistically, this is one of those really, really interesting hobbies where excess is common, because how much cologne can you really wear? And most people who have, 30, 40, 50 bottles, 100 bottles, you're probably never going to get through all of that. Okay, and how many of us have way more than that anyway? So it can really get crazy. So let's say that you're in that position and you just want to stop, but you want to have a nice collection of 10, or you want to buy a few more and then sell off some old ones, and these are the ones you kind of want to go for, in my opinion. This first one is Mancera Intense Cedrat Boise. There's no reason not to have this stuff in your collection, in my opinion. Why? Because it's less than $100. It's a 12+ hour performer. It is incredibly wearable. You could use this in any situation. And also, it's a great compliment puller, what everybody cares about. And so those are all the main ones that I touched on. I think those are all important points. But it's the combination of them for the price, because there are a lot of other scents out there that have all of those goodies, the performance, the compliment factor, the versatility, but maybe it's, $150, maybe it's $200 or something. That is not the case here. Now at retail, it is about $200, but at discounter price, you can usually get it for just a touch under $100 for full presentation, 120 ml, and it's niche, by the way. Not that that necessarily matters to everybody, but if it matters to you, it is niche. Some people would say that this isn't true niche because it's not outrageously expensive. For me, the price point doesn't matter. If I like how it smells, which I do, I'm all for it. And the value that you get for the money is pretty much unlike anything else out there currently offered in the fragrance world. Cedrat Boise Intense, but also the Eau de Parfum. It's a real nice fruity, woody style scent. A little bit sweet, a little bit bright, fruity, and fresh. Nice and woody, kind of giving it that more so masculine smell. It's great stuff. I don't need to spray it, but I'm going to, just for my pure own enjoyment, because it smells wonderful. Real nice bright lemon off the top. Starting to get some of that sweetness, some of that sandalwood as it settles off a little bit. I don't need to explain it much more than that, so we'll move on to the next one. But this would for sure be in my collection if I was cutting back and kind of narrowing things down. Honestly, the next one that I would probably go with, and it's tough because I like a lot of new releases this year, but one that is really good, at least to me, definitely for a lot of people out there that just want something. It's a great compliment puller and easy. It's Bad Boy Elixir. It's got leather, sage, and cedar wood. It smells wonderful. Nothing wrong with this at all. Way better than the original. As far as this versus Le Parfum, it's tough because I like Le Parfum. Maybe this, especially as I spend more time with it, I might start to really hone in on this one. Yeah, actually might be this. That might have done it right there. In all seriousness, though, that opening is nice. Nice cedar, sweet, kind of leathery tones. And the leather, it reminds me of a very subdued Gucci Guilty Absolute leather. Okay, now it doesn't smell like the scent itself, but the type of leather being used in Gucci Guilty Absolute, this kind of earthiness type of leather, it's in here, but it's so much more mild. And this is so much more wearable, a way better people pleaser, and more people are just going to like it. So I don't want to scare people off with that comparison, because Gucci Guilty Absolute is quite unique and out there, but it's that type of leather, that texture, that kind of earthiness, that very distinct smell. It reminds me of that type a little, and I like it, and that is unique. You're not seeing that style used all that often. Doesn't smell like the leather in Ombre leather or even Tuscan leather, really. It's quite a bit different. This next one is Bleu Noir Parfum by Narciso Rodriguez. It's got that cedarwood, musk forward DNA, just like all of the others in the line, like literally all of them. But this one in particular uses some iris. So even Narciso Rodriguez, a brand of few releases in the grand scheme of things, had to jump in on that iris trend. Now, this was a few years ago. That's still kind of ongoing a little bit, and they did a really good job with it. It's not overbearing. It doesn't turn it into a Dior Homme Intense clone or a Prada L'Homme clone. This is still its own thing, staying in its own lane, and that's what I like about it, because a lot of times when you see these other designer brands, even niche brands, jumping into the iris realm, they can fly pretty close to some of those OG iris scents, and it might stir up some redundancy in your collection, but that's not the case here. This is more so an example of a fresh DNA with a sweet iris, whereas Prada L'Homme is fresh DNA, fresh iris. Dior Homme Intense, Gentleman Eau de Parfum is sweet backbone, sweet iris. So this kind of uses a little bit of contrast here to stir things up a bit, which I really like, and ultimately that gives this a lot more versatility as well. Let's go for Acqua di Gio Parfum. It's such a no-brainer, everyday wear, signature scent, great performer that it's hard not to include, just because of all those reasons. If I didn't say performance, I think I did. Great performer. Surely I threw that in there, but coming in at a Parfum, it's a smoky aquatic, which you just don't see all that often. Acqua di Gio Profumo is what kicked off that style. And even since then, you haven't seen a ton of that. And I'm really talking smoky aquatic. I'm not talking, some of the low dissy fragrances that have a little bit of smoke or incense in them that is hardly discernible. I'm talking like you actually pick up on it to a pretty heavy extent here. And that's what makes it stand out so much. I mean, Acqua di Gio Parfum, it is just the one to get. I mean, this and Profondo, they're the Acqua di Gios you need. You can pretty much do away with the rest, okay? The elixir smells great. It's pricey. I like it. I'm glad that I have it. But at the end of the day, Parfum, Profondo, those, in my opinion, are must-haves. Everything else, if you want them, pick them up. They're nice to have around. But this stuff, to me, really is a key foundation point in a great collection. Let's go for Hugo Boss, the scent Private Accord, okay? It's the Maninka Fruit Bomb. It's got cacao, coffee, and patchouli as well, along with that Maninka fruit, which just makes it stand out. Nice gourmand, sweet, warm, woody, more fall and winter leaning, but also, you could use it on a cloudy spring day, or maybe even a cloudy summer day, or a summer evening or something, because there is a little bit of a freshness to this one, although predominantly more warm, spicy, and kind of coffee, gourmand leaning. Hugo Boss, they have a ton of fragrances across a ton of different lines, but this line in particular, the scent line, is one that has a lot of unique releases in it, and that's what I love so much about them. Magnetic is really good. There's just a lot of good ones. Let's go for something OG, like Chanel Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme. Let's get some focus on this. Needs not be described. It's got the tonka bean and mint with a bit of the C notes going on a little bit, but mostly it's tonka bean and mint. Green pop off the top, nice dusty, powdery, creamy tonka bean later on. It's got just the right amount of freshness, especially off that opening, and then a real nice powdery nature going on later on to just give it more of a warm and fuzzy kind of almost cozy and alluring type of smell. Hence the name. They hit the nail on the head. A fresh aquatic is great, okay? I love them. Acqua di Gio Parfum, a different take on a fresh aquatic, but still that. It smells great. It's a great compliment puller, but it's still pretty bright. It's still kind of punchy. This stuff, with the softness that it has, it truly is alluring. Like, they could not have done a better job of matching the scent to the name. Now, sport, that's a little different. This isn't what I would consider to be a sporty scent. When I think of sporty, I think of sport activities and going to the gym. There's just a couple of things that come to mind when I think of sport. And so Allure Homme Sport, great for that. Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme, not my first choice. Could this have just been Chanel Allure Homme Eau Extreme? Maybe it doesn't sound as good, but that's probably a better way to think about it, because it's not very sporty in the traditional sense. Neither here nor there. It smells great. I think it's a must-have. You're paying up for it. Chanel full retail, Macy's full retail, whatever it is, you got to pay up for it. Well worth it though. Lalique Ombre Noir is up next. If you want unique and designer, this is it. Okay, not for the faint of heart. The people who are really complaining about everything smells the same, try this. And if you don't like this, then I don't know what to tell you, because this is literally unlike anything else out there. So you gotta pick your battles. Cognac, tobacco, cinnamon, myrrh, and olibanum. Did I get them all? That's pretty much all I listed off. Those are all the main ones. Boozy, kind of smoky, sweet, balsamic. That's what it is. It smells like fall to a T. So a little bit out of season right now, I understand, for some of us. For others of you, this is just in time for fall. But again, it's just, that's a recommendation. That's just kind of a loose guideline that you can go off of. If there's a summer night or a spring day where you want to wear this, there's zero reason why you cannot. So always, keep that in mind. Don't be beholden to the idea of, oh, it can only be worn in this time or that time. That's just not true. At least in most instances. There might be some times where you really wouldn't want to wear something in summer if it's really hot and the scent is really strong and sweet. But other than that, you can get away with a lot more than you might expect. Y Eau de Parfum Intense is, it's become my favorite of the line. This and Les Parfums 2025 are at the top of my list right now, with Eau de Parfum coming in third. That's how crazy it is. The EDP Intense, probably at number one, followed by Les Parfums. Obviously, I just listed them off there. 2025, that is. But I can kind of swap a little bit. Like those three all together are all I need. And if they kind of change order a little bit, so be it. But that's generally where they fall. At this point, the line is pretty extensive. You've got a few that are discontinued, like Live and Eau Fresh. And you've got the Eau de Toilette and the old Les Parfums and whatever. There's soon to be more, I'm sure. So a decent amount to choose from. But this one here is just my favorite. I love the lack of apple sweetness that you get from the Eau de Parfum and the Les Parfums. It just makes it more wearable. I don't see why they don't put out like a deep red gradient bottle and give us something warm and spicy. Come on, I think that's awesome. Think of like Prada Luna Rossa Ocean Les Parfum bottle, a deep red, I think would look great on this format. And then instead of, like a sage, lavender, geranium, ambergris type of thing, which I love, and this is what this has, give us like maybe a hint of tobacco, maybe a little incense with some of that amber wood to tie things back, and some of the aromatics, I guess, but sweeten it up. We have yet to have a winter weather variant. The Les Parfums definitely isn't. The Les Parfums is actually a little bit weaker and not quite as punchy as the Eau de Parfum. And I'm talking the original Les Parfums there, not the 2025. They kind of fumbled that one in one way or another. There's still a lot of room to work here with these. Give us like more of a fall winter variant. I think that would be great. But Eau de Parfum Intense, still a favorite of mine. We're going to wear this one today. Just smells wonderful. It's one of my favorites. It's hard for me not to reach for. I don't know how well that's going to show up. Probably not very well, but I've used quite a bit of this bottle. And for me to use that much of something, that means I really, truly like it a lot because I have more than a couple things to choose from. Platine Privé by Guerlain. Okay, it is their summer version that is iffy at this point. They don't like to keep these around. Cologne, Cool, Platine Privé. For whatever reason, they don't like to keep those in stock, or they don't like to keep them in production, I guess. They discontinue them, even though they all smell really good. And they are all better than Cool, or Sport, which they kept around longer than they kept around Cologne and Cool and Platine Privé, which makes no sense. I would even say that these fresher ones are better than L'Intense. Nothing wrong with L'Intense. It's a nice one, red pepper, smoke. Again, nothing wrong with it. I think these are better. Keep these around instead. Maybe the data isn't there. They know the data. We don't. We can only speculate. But these summer versions are really, really spot on. And again, it makes sense. We don't have any in production, truly summer versions of this now. The closest thing you would have is the Eau de Toilette, which can work in a pinch, but it's not ideal. But yeah, I like this stuff. Just fresher almond take. Still has, there's that creaminess about it as well. Truly a gentleman's scent. We're going to finish this one off with Hugo Boss Bottled Absolute. Beautiful release. And also, it was by far one of the top favorites last year. Super popular stuff, and still is, to be fair. A lot of people are still lusting after this one, whether it be buying samples or I'm assuming buying full bottles too when available. Your typical price for this is like $97, 100 ml on discounters. Retail is $140 or something. Honestly, this holds up to the retail price, but the less than 100 is even better. Smoky incense, creamy, sweet, heavy and rich as well. Really, really heavy stuff. It is truly a nice experience from start to finish as far as just being unique and different and exciting and full-bodied from start to finish. Alrighty guys, that's gonna do it for me. The last fragrances you may ever need to buy if you decided enough is enough. I will link all these down below and it'll say featured products in this video on the screen. Those will take you to the best prices and everything so you can find them there. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.